Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming. My name is Hollow and this is update 2 for Sunbreak. Today we're doing a skill focused video all about the new skill Intrepid Heart. This is found on this armor set, the Flaming Espinas set, specifically found on the gloves and the boots, and it comes in 2 levels. The big question with this skill then is, how does it actually work? Is it worth using? You know, the details of it. If you were to look up the skill right now, you're probably not going to find the answers you're looking for, and so this video is meant to give you them. Let's read the official description before we get into what it actually does. After filling the gauge by continuously landing attacks, it'll negate damage reactions and reduce damage taken from a single attack that would knock you back. At level 1, that is indeed what it does, but at level 2, the damage received will be further reduced, and it'll also detonate an explosion. That's very interesting. Is that damage worth running? Is it good damage? Is the damage reduction relevant? Does the fact that it reduces damage reactions such as knockbacks or knockdowns, is that relevant? And can we increase the damage of that explosion, maybe with blast improvements? These are the questions we're going to try to answer today. Let's take a look at the skill in action to get a real look at it. To begin with, we do not have it equipped right now, but now I've equipped both the gloves and the legs, so I have level 2, the max level of Intrepid Heart. This has added a new bar under my name and above my health bar. That is the heart gauge. And as it describes, as we continuously attack, that heart gauge fills up. And as you can see, as I land many blows, it's filling up faster and faster and faster. When I exit combat and stop attacking, you're going to see the gauge slowly draining over time. It doesn't matter whether I've got my weapons out or I put them away or whatever. The only thing that actually matters is if I am currently continuously landing blows on a target. Now with the dual blades, we're doing smaller amounts of hits, like smaller damage values, but many hits. So in terms of continuously attacking, that would seem that it's a great option. Per single attack, you can see that it adds a very small amount of the gauge per attack. It doesn't matter which attack I use or how much damage I do, it feels it the same. On the other hand, if we take a greatsword, a much slower weapon that deals much greater damage, it does actually do more of a fill of the bar per hit. As you can see, that's significantly more. Each individual hit is filling the gauge a much greater amount, but as is with the dual blades, it doesn't matter how much damage I do or what kind of strong attack. Even if I do the absolute maximum amount of damage in a hit that I could possibly do real quick, still fills the gauge exactly the same amount no matter how much damage I do. This basically indicates the bar is filled more based on which weapon you're using rather than the damage you're dealing. So logically, slower weapons like the greatsword here, that gets a bigger chunk of the gauge filled per hit. But a much faster attacking weapon is generally going to fill that gauge much quicker in general combat, because you're going to be, as logically based on the skill and the description of it, you're continuously attacking, which is what you're meant to do. Best shown with the Siltbind attack, Spiral Slash, which clearly does a lot of attacks in a small burst, and that fills the bar up a huge chunk, much more than say the greatsword doing multiple hits. But now let's finally fill that bar and see what happens. As you can see at the top left, the bar goes from that deeper blue to now a flashing bright blue. This indicates that the ability is ready to go, the heart bar is full, and now the next attack that's going to hit me is not going to knock me back or even down, and we're going to get that explosion. This is a major ground tremor, so should knock me flying if I'm hit by it, which I will show you. But as you can see, I am going to be completely ignoring that and exploding for 300 damage in one hit. Just to emphasize, this attack would send me flying, but it didn't, and that's really cool. The fact that I could take risky plays and continuously attack even when a monster is doing, say, a massive, very dangerous attack that would normally knock me down, I can just ignore it and keep going. The downside is the fact that 300 damage for a buff that takes that long to fill, it's not really very good, is it? Obviously, the more relevant part of this is the damage reduction on the blow that you've taken, and of course the fact that you're not knocked down. But what if we could increase the damage of that explosion? 2 skills come to mind. Firstly, Blast Attack here. Blast Attack will improve the blast buildup by percents, and then have a bonus of a raw number further. For this example, we have Blast Attack 2, so if it was going to increase the damage, we would see higher than a 300 in one hit. We once again see a 300 in one hit, so it does not increase the damage in any way. You might also wonder about that blast buildup plus 10%, just to see if each individual hit has a faster buildup of the heart gauge. It does not. It has no impact on that. There is another skill that has relevance to Blast though, and that is Teostra's Blessing. This provides fire attack and blast buildup plus 5%. Then 10% at level 2, prevents poison and venom at 3, and at 4 negates theft. So unfortunately, all it does for Blast is improve the buildup by 10%, not increasing the damage, and again, not improving the heart gauge filling up any faster either. The question then is this even actually blast damage? Well, fortunately, we can find out. To test if we could increase that blast damage against monsters potentially weak to it, we went and fought a Blood Orange Bishaton. For its blast ailments, we have a 2-star and the damage of 2 bars. Once again, the explosion did 300 damage. Compared to Basirios, who also has a 2-star blast effectiveness, but then the 3 bars of damage, we did 240 damage. This is due to its greater resistance to blast, and there you go. It seems to be tied to blast the damage that it's actually doing. As there are no monsters with the 1 bar of damage, we are not able to increase it beyond 300 through these means. Now we've confirmed that it is indeed technically a blast, right? Because blast resistance lowers the damage of the explosion. There is one thing that might affect it. Teostra Soul is a skill found on Rampage decorations. It slightly increases damage dealt by blast explosions. So if anything's going to do it, it's got to be this. Decoration equipped, slam incoming, gauge full. Let's see if we get more than 300. 300! That's incredibly disappointing, but there you go. Can't be increased via the methods you might imagine with Blast. So next up, what we need to do is test the other side of it. We've tried to increase the damage of the Blast unsuccessfully. What about the damage reduction? At level 1, it's going to reduce the damage taken from a single attack, and at level 2, it's going to further reduce that damage. I've done a couple tests to see how that would work. First, we've done it in a controlled environment here in the training area with a Mega Barrel Bomb. Our first test was, of course, at full health, only wearing the pieces required to actually get the buff, but then without the buff, taking the explosion off the Mega Barrel Bomb. As you can see, it did about 10% of the health bar. Then I activated the heart buff. Now I'm ready to go. We hit the Barrel Bomb again, and it did like 5, maybe not even that, maybe 4% of the health bar. What that clearly shows is that it's a significant damage reduction. But how much of a reduction? I took it to the most relevant monster I could think of, Flaming Espinas. And with his charged up Fiery Nova, I took it without the buff itself and instantly died. That's a lot of damage. Then I took it again, but this time with the buff just in time, which massively reduced the damage taken. As you can see, I took about 40% of the health bar, and then it turns out that Nova has multiple ticks of damage and I died anyway. But what you can see is that it is a major, in this still, a major damage reduction on that first tick. Between the Mega Barrel Bomb test and this ridiculously damaging Nova, it looks like it's a 60% damage reduction to one single attack, which, as shown by the Espinas Nova, isn't that relevant when there's multiple ticks, but that's how it works, it would seem. Next, we were asking ourselves, what skills are going to be relevant to this skill then? How is this heart going to benefit us? Well, there's a couple ones we could think of, such as Resentment, which is going to increase the attack when we have recoverable health. So since we're going to trade intentionally when our heart is active, when the gauge is full, we're still going to take damage. We're still going to get that red recoverable health, but it's going to be significantly less damage taken. So this will activate in a safer way. On that note, we also have Dereliction, which is going to increase our damage while draining our health. It just gives us a little bit more protection whenever the gauge is full, which will be fairly often. And comparable to that, we could also say Bloodlust with the health reduction. Something to further keep you alive is always going to be nice. The question is, how much do I like this skill in action during a hunt? Does it feel relevant? Do I think it's good? Well, actually Josh made a good point to do with World and Iceborne. The Rocksteady Mantle. It was the same effect, right? It prevented you from being knocked down by major attacks. But that could be a death sentence in the scenario where you're taking multiple hits, and because you're not getting knocked down, you're just taking hit after hit after hit, and that can even kill you. Having this more controllable one time prevent knockdown, then get knocked down on the second hit or whatever other following tick of damage comes, it's good in a way because it protects you from that melted situation Rocksteady would cause. It gives us that opportunity to ignore that one attack and just keep going, keep DPSing, take that risky move. But in a way, it's not something I'm able to time. In the footage today, I was trying to test it, right? So I was intentionally getting it to say 95% full and then not attacking until a certain attack occurs, then finished it off. That's not really going to happen in a real hunt. want. I want to keep attacking at all times. So it's kind of just there when it's there, and it will reduce the damage and provide that nice burst, that 300 damage, just occasionally. Certainly useful if you're looking to run a more survival build. You're dealing with a monster that does massive hits and you want something that's going to keep you alive, like something like Divine Blessing. But I'm not convinced by its relevance in the meta. Giving up 2 slots to get level 2 of this, the explosion is definitely not worth it. The damage reduction and not getting knocked down, it is nice, but I do not see this as a meta ability, just an interesting one. But there you have it. That is my overview of testing and thoughts on Intrepid Heart. I hope this video was informative and useful to you, and whether you agree or not with my conclusion, you can test it yourself and decide whether you want to run it. Let me know though, I'm interested to see what you guys make of it. If you have enjoyed the video and want to see more content in this style, then do let me know with a like on the video. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.